How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive the E92 M3 from a first-person point of view. Only this E92 M3 is anything but stock. It's been supercharged by ESS and makes 600 plus horsepower. Aftermarket exhaust, really cool selection of aftermarket carbon bits, BBS FIRs, upgraded brakes. Let's get a load of the front of the car. Look how cool these custom headlights are with the little M emblem right there. Now let's hop in and open the hood so you can see that glorious 4-liter naturally aspirated V8 that now is not naturally aspirated. It has that supercharger. Now from the factory, it made 414 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, and now it is making over 600 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque. I love the way that ESS supercharger looks. Look at the air intake plenum. All right, let's go ahead and hop in. Inside the E92 M3 now, we have got this gorgeous forged carbon fiber wheel with a shift indicator light, bigger paddles. Now, there were two options available at the time: 7-speed DCT, which is a pretty revolutionary transmission to put in this car at the time, or a 6-speed manual. Obviously, people have their opinions on which one is better. This actually is a really good transmission. I probably would go for the manual, but it's absolutely no slouch. And funny enough, it's better as a transmission than the current G80 that went back to a conventional automatic. I love the analog gauges, revs up to 8,400 RPM, 200 miles an hour on the dash. Chopped carbon fiber all throughout the dash here with some nice red accents. Some space back here, but more for your groceries than full-size adults. The seats are very comfortable, not the most supportive in the world, but the leather has actually held up really well over time. All right, let's fire this thing up, take it for a drive. So we're actually here in the car with the owner, Greg, aka Mr. Car Sounds on TikTok and Instagram. He's been gracious enough to let me drive this. How have you liked owning this car?
I've absolutely loved owning this car.
It's pretty sweet.
Thank you so much.
And the fact it has a supercharger is not the worst thing in the world. Now I gotta ask, what is your preferred driving mode? I know you've got the M mode set up, but what did that entail? Yeah, so that is EDC on its most stiff setting. Throttle response is only on this. There's only one setting to turn it off and on. The traction is on M dynamic mode. It's not completely off. That's just for safety on street driving because it has a lot of torque up top. And yeah, and manual shifting. Sweet. All right, conventional e-brake. Gotta love that. And off we go on Angeles Crest. Easily one of my favorite parts about this car is the way the downshift sound. Listen to this. Oh my God. Stock, this thing sounds insane, but with the supercharger, those revs just climb a little bit faster and it sounds absolutely epic. One of my favorite parts about the E92 M3s compared to the newer generation BMWs is how good the steering feels in your hands. There's so much more communication through the tires, through the wheels, and up through the steering wheel and your hands because of that hydraulic steering. They've gone the way of electronically assisted steering, and well, that has its benefits in some scenarios, more comfortable, better for daily driving. This is the type of steering feel that I prefer. The suspension also feels fantastic, not over jarring, anything like that, but at the same time, it's got very limited body roll in the corners and just communicates the perfect amount through your butt so you know what the heck is going on in this car. We've got R888R tires, which have a pretty impressive amount of grip. Wow, this thing sounds epic. That second to third shift just kicks you in the back. That's one of my favorite parts about this car. I love that. All right, in Mexico, what's the fastest you've ever been in this car?
About 180 mile an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was at the top of 6th. I had a whole other gear left to go.
And it was relatively stable?
Yeah, it was very stable.
I had gone...
I just didn't trust myself.
No, fair enough. I did, I think 186 in my E39 M5, and it was not chill, actually. But I think the Michigan roads had destroyed the suspension, so it was a little bit kind of all over the place. So much wind noise at that speed.
Yeah.
All the older rubber gaskets and whatnot.
It was holding up pretty well at that speed. Just I hadn't gone that fast before, and I didn't want to try 7th gear in that.
Fair enough.
At that speed.
Oh, this thing sounds crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of anticipating in person to be underwhelmed and you had some effects that you put on, but that that was pretty damn good. The live recreation of the E92 M3, I love it. How did you figure out the can part?
Well, I mean, this is like a old school trick that I guess has been on the internet for a while. So I wanted to try it myself. It sounds a lot better when you get the can to fold in a proper way.
Gotcha.
I'll get that down right now.
That's hilarious. Well, this has always been one of my favorite BMWs of all time, and driving it for the first time in probably about 3 years does not leave me disappointed. This thing always puts a smile on my face and impresses me what they were capable of back then, kind of in the glory days of BMW. I know stylistically, some people weren't as much of a fan of the E92 and the E60 generation compared to the cars that came before it, but you can't argue that these aren't probably the best powertrains BMW has ever had in any of their cars, with that 65 and that ridiculous V10 in the E60. It handles really well, it sounds incredible, you could use it every single day, and it's fun on the track, so it really is hard to beat that experience. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. Make sure to follow the owner of this car, Mr. Car Sounds. I've got all of his information in the description below. All right, see you next video.